Hi, friends. Welcome in. Welcome back to another episode of the Peace and Love podcast. If you're new here, I'm your host, Siva. Today's episode is going to be all about traveling the path of your soul. So, we're going to talk about from A to Z how to find your soul's path, how to speak your soul's language, hear the messages it's sending you, how to have the courage to follow that easily, and where that's going to take you, what that's going to look like, and how to do this process smoothly. So, buckle up, click in your seatbelts. I want to hear that click, right? And let's dive right into the path of your soul. So, this episode was kind of inspired because of a phone call I had with a friend. We were talking a lot about different books, and one of the books we talked about was Parallel Universes of Self by Fred. And he was mentioning that flow of life analogy. So, in the book, Fred talks about life is a stream and you go along with life in the stream. So you can operate in the stream however you want because you have free will. Some people claw against the water, they put their hands in the stream, scraping up dirt, trying to slow it down. Some people get out of their little boat and watch life go by, watch the stream go by. Some people paddle against the current and they feel really stressed out. Sometimes there's bumps in the stream and you have to either speed up and jump above them or try to slow down and end up wrecking your boat. And there's all these different options for how you can operate in the stream of life. But the most effective ones are either letting the stream carry you to your destination or paddling with the stream. Now, I could go on for another 5 minutes talking about all the examples that he gave, but I think you get the gist and you get the metaphor here. And the real question is, how do we paddle along with life and go with the flow of life? It's an interesting question because if most people are paddling against the flow, that would be the reason that most people have the result that they have. And the people who paddle with the flow of life, they look amazing to us and they have incredible talents and they are living their life's purpose. They're in abundance, they're feeling good, they're looking good. And so how can we get to that point of not just following someone else's path because we can see that they have followed the flow of life, but following our own? Because obviously you're not going to be able to replicate somebody else's success, because it's a unique and personal journey that each of us goes on. So what I mean by going along with the flow of life is following your unique purpose, your unique talents, your unique gifts, following that to fulfillment. So not only are you having worldly success, but you're feeling well and you're feeling energized about it. This is the path of least resistance for us as people, but it really isn't when you put yourself out into the world, because there's all these doubts, there's all these challenges. And so today's episode is going to be about simplifying the path so that it doesn't cloud you with doubt whenever you are following your soul's path, yet you're not sure if it's going to work out, basically. So a lot of that conversation was how my friend and I follow our flow of life, our personal soul's journey, by following our highest excitement on a day-to-day basis. And when I talk about following your highest excitement, if you watch me on socials, I talk about this nonstop, but it's so important because it's really the key to finding what feels good. It accomplishes way more doing less, and you're going to feel energized when you follow your highest excitement. So we'll get into every little detail about following your highest excitement here today. But a lot of that conversation with my friend was how, even though we're practiced at this, following your highest excitement can be challenging because it's putting you on the next level up. It's putting you on that next frequency, and it makes you not just act better, but be better. So when you are following your highest excitement all the time, it requires constant stretching to the next level. And even though we're used to following our highest excitement, we acknowledge that, yeah, it's challenging. Like, your mind comes up with stories. There are different fears that come up, and it's exciting and it's fun. But sometimes there are blocks to living in alignment and following your highest excitement, doubts, fears, whatever the case may be. And it really got my gears turning. And so I figured out the formula of how exactly I follow my highest excitement, listen to my soul's advice, but also how I overcome those moments of deep fear. Because just because me and this friend are talking about, hey, it's challenging to do this, that doesn't mean we don't act upon our highest excitement anyways. It doesn't mean that we just say, oh, I feel a type of way, so I'm going to take myself out of the process. No, we feel the fear and we do it anyways. So I'm going to share like the easiest way that I've found to relax into my highest excitement. And so you can jump on that new timeline, create that new version of yourself, and attract the new results, attract that new reality that living in alignment creates. Because when you are listening to your soul's path and you are listening to your highest excitement, you're going to act different, so you're going to get different results. So I'm going to give you the step-by-step plan of how to do this. So briefly, let's talk about why excitement specifically. So if you look at it from an energetic perspective, following your excitement it's like following your compass, because your excitement is your meter of life force energy. When you're excited about something, it means it contains a lot of energy, a lot of high vibration for you and your possibilities. So even though you and I might be doing the same thing, you might feel a different way about it internally because it contains more possibilities, more life force energy for your specific path. That's why I said earlier, it doesn't work to just try to replicate somebody else's success, because they're a different soul on a different path, and their ultimate possibility is not your ultimate possibility. So the first step of this process is tuning into excitement, what that feels like. I mean, everybody knows excitement. When you were a kid, playing pretend, we made up all these fantastical, whimsical experiences, and we just lived from our excitement every single day. If you've lost touch with your highest excitement and feeling that type of spark, here's exactly how I figure out my highest excitement on a day-to-day basis, whether I'm in my house about to do the next chore, or I'm out and about talking to people, living my life. It doesn't matter where I am. Here's exactly how I do it. So I look at the immediate options around me. The most likely things. Okay, next I could either mop my floor, I could either film a podcast, take a shower, and then I usually throw in something completely random too, or I could do something that involves leaving my house. So if I'm in on a day, that might be my options. It's like, well, the shower does not sound exciting for whatever reason. The going outside, it really is not doing it for me. Filming the podcast, it's really not it. But something about mopping my floor, it has a little spark there. And it'll literally be different every single time you do this. But the formula is simple. Pick out of all the options you have at your disposal right now, pick some out. Which one feels the best? Feel into it. If you need a little bit more clarity, imagine yourself doing that thing. How does that feel? You can also do this for life paths. One time I had a friend, it was their birthday and they were stressed out. They were like, I cannot decide whether I go down this one path for my life, whether I go to hair school or do I go to this other major. And I was like, okay, sit with me here. Take a deep breath, close your eyes, and imagine being in hair school for 1 year. Now, imagine doing that for 2 years, doing hair, 3 years. And then we did it with the other major. And instantly after that, they were like, the other major, like logically it makes sense, but the hair one, like it just feels so much better. It just feels like I would enjoy doing it. And so it's like, there you go. There's your highest excitement. You experientially can see that now. So we're just applying that to a day-to-day basis, because success is in the seed of something. And I'll get back deep into this, but how you feel at the beginning of something is how you're going to feel during and how you're ultimately going to feel at the end. Obviously, there might be some bumps around the path, but it shows you the ultimate trajectory of that path, how you feel about it from the start. So, step one, you pick out a few possibilities. Maybe you think about some things that are in your direct vicinity that you can do. Maybe you add in some possibilities that are completely random and see what feels best. Your intuition knows if there's something off the beaten path that you're supposed to do. Okay, go to this specific coffee shop, go to this specific hotel. It will pop into your mind, and don't discount it, even if it's super strange. I have never been in this hotel. I have never been to this place. Add it to your little list. Don't overwhelm yourself. You don't need a huge list, but usually I do like 4 options, and pick from those. Feel into each one. At this point, it will be clear to you which one is the most exciting. Now, at this point, it might also be clear to you that your nervous system is not on board, or your mind has a lot to say about this, okay? My highest excitement is going to this hotel. A, I don't feel like I fit in there. B, I've never been there. I don't know where to park. I don't know why I would possibly need to go to this hotel. This is a real life example from me, actually. One time, my highest excitement was literally to go to a hotel. I've never been just sitting in the lobby in this hotel. I didn't understand why I needed to go there. I didn't know where to park even to get there. And it was very uncomfortable for me. Why is this my highest excitement? I don't know. I really don't want to go to the hotel because it's out of my comfort zone. But another huge example that I can give you, and my friend and I were talking about this too, is talking to new people. A lot of times your highest excitement will involve talking to people. I think this is a lot because that's how we make connections. That's how a lot of things come to you. I mean, like, for example, ask yourself, how do you get money? It's like, well, when getting money is involved, talking to people, connecting with people is always involved. So, and it's literally almost for every area of life, people are involved. Love, people are involved. Health, I'm sure people are involved with that as well for you. So a lot of times you might find yourself talking to people as your highest excitement. And, there's so much programming around this. We don't talk to strangers. Stranger danger. That's weird. They might think I'm hitting on them. They might think blah, blah, blah. And endless mind stories that your brain will come up with inevitably. So when this happens, you have a choice. You can either commit fully to following your highest excitement regardless and living your soul's purpose regardless, or you can say, this is too much for me right now. This is a too big of a vibrational gap, right? But ultimately, it's up to you. What I found is it will be clear to you why you needed to follow this direction. And second of all, you will never be given something that you cannot handle. So it might be a stretch for you, and it requires some courage at the beginning, but once you sit into it for a second, once you get to talking to that person, you'll realize they're just as friendly as me. They're just like me. They're not some type of monster that's going to eat me if I say the wrong thing. They're a relaxing young woman, young man, just like me, or older gentleman, whatever the case may be. So it can be a challenge, but there's a tool for this. So what I like to do is make a intention that I can relax into. So if you see someone and your highest excitement is, oh my gosh, I want to go talk to them. Your subconscious intention might be, oh my goodness, I want to go talk to that guy. He's so cute. Maybe he could be my future husband. Maybe we could have some cute kids. Like, hold on, girl. Hold on. That puts so much pressure on one interaction. Does he like me? Will I like him? Like, do I look okay right now? It puts so much onto an interaction. And so now you're not even thinking, okay, can I just go and speak to this person? You're thinking about all of these other elements. You're thinking about how you look, what you're going to say, like everything that's possibly could bother you is bothering you in this moment. So let's take a step back and take a deep energizing breath and set an intention that's relaxing. Set an intention that causes enjoyment instead of stress. Okay, that guy over there, for whatever reason, I'm feeling interest. For whatever reason, I'm feeling excitement. Let me go talk to him to see if I can learn more about him as a human. Let me go talk to him because I think I would have enjoyment by starting a connection. Maybe I can have an interesting conversation. I think I could explore myself more by having a fun conversation with someone else. Maybe they have something that they want to share with me. Whatever your intention is, just something that's low expectation. It gives you a clear goal to aim for. I'm going to go up and compliment this person, just appreciate how they are. This place that I'm not sure about, I'm just going to go, I'm going to walk around, see if anything calls to me. Maybe I can find a good sitting spot. Whatever the case may be, instead of having maybe subconscious intentions or thoughts running, making your intention conscious and being aware about, okay, what's your intention here? And making it centered around your enjoyment, your elevation, your excitement will bring everything together and it'll give you something clear to aim for. So being really smart about the intentions that you're setting and what your goal is can be relaxing. With the example of talking to people, it's funny because it's not so much what you say, it's how you say it and deeper who you're being, what your intentions are, where you're coming from. If that other person speaks to you, looks at you, and feels at an energetic level that you are just coming from your excitement, you are coming to them with the intention of learning more about them, appreciating them, enjoying a conversation, it's going to be a lot less off-putting than if you come up to them and you are in full fear. You smell a fear and you're like shaking and they're like, whoa, what's going on? That energetically transfers and that person starts feeling fear. So if you're just feeling enjoyment and excitement, it's literally contagious. People will be like, I don't know what this girl has going on, but it feels good. I want to talk to her just about anything because being in her presence, being in her aura, it feels very good. Plus, most of the time, the excitement is mutual. Everybody wants to make more friends. Everybody wants to make more connections. And most of the time, they want to come talk to you, but they don't really know how. So you are just bridging that energetic gap for them too, if they're too afraid to come and talk to you. That's happened to me before where I'm about to leave somewhere and I'm like, no, I can't leave. No, something's wrong. If I leave now, I won't be able to sleep tonight. There's something for me going back into that room. And so I walk back into this room and I'm like, you know what? The intention I can relax into is talking to the lady at the desk. She's friendly. I don't know why I have to come back into this room. It's weird, but I can relax into my intention of connecting with this woman who works at the desk. She's got good energy. So I go back. I'm like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm going back and I start talking and connecting with this energy, with this lady at the the lady at the desk. And then this gentleman comes over and long story short, we ended up connecting and we talked about the day that we met and he was like, I wanted to come talk to you so bad. And I was so mad at myself that you had left and yada, yada, yada. So he was like, when you came back, I was like, I have to talk to her. He was literally in a meeting. He stopped his Zoom meeting to come and just interact with me. And it's a very interesting connection. Definitely worth, going back into that room for, following your highest excitement. Literally, like, that connection has brought so much light and so much love into my life. And it was one of those moments where I say to myself, like, if I don't XYZ, I won't be able to sleep at night. So, and I don't know if that's something that you necessarily want to do, but when there's something that I know, my intuition is just telling me, ping, 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 like you have to go. And my conscious mind is like, well, that's weird. Why would I go back into the room? I've already left the room. What more is there to do? But it's like, my intuition is so strong and I listen to it so much that it can be that strong that it's like, okay, if I don't do this, it'll keep me up tonight. So I have to just follow it. So the more you listen to your intuition, the stronger it gets, and the bigger those pulls will be. Especially if you're having a straight intuitive moment, it will literally feel like, I have to do this. I have to do this. And sometimes that can be super uncomfortable. Again, like, why? But the more you listen, the more you'll learn to understand, not to question it, just go do it. Even if it makes you look a little strange, set an intention that you can relax to, go talk to the lady at the desk, and something good will happen, or something, multidimensional that we could never know about was put into place because you did that, right? I don't know. I just work here. And that goes into my third point, which is 3, just act. The longer you sit there thinking about it, the weirder it's going to feel, the odder it's going to look, if you want to say it in that terms. And the more that you're just going to feel like that, what's the word? Like, just like a pulling energy, the internal war. And the more that you're missing out on following that stream of life. You're like, in that moment, you're resisting. So the quicker you can just receive that ping, set your intention, and then just act without thinking, it'll make it so much easier on you. If you cut out the middle part of setting that intention and then thinking about it, like most of the time, I set the intention and then it's just like, I do it. The worst thing that could happen is you're like utterly humiliated and you feel bad. It always just goes back to feeling bad. And if you practice surrender, if you start listening to your emotions and sitting with what doesn't feel bad, you stop being afraid of feeling bad. So if this is a big issue for you, you need to go back to, okay, am I comfortable being uncomfortable? Because if you're not comfortable being uncomfortable, you won't be able to follow your soul's path, because there's some discomfort. There's discomfort that wants to be let go of from your body. There's discomfort that wants to be experienced as part of the human experience. So you can't be afraid of temporary discomfort if you want to go on this path. But the way to make it long-term more comfortable is just acting instead of thinking about it. So setting your intention and then just acting. Sometimes I'm even like 3, 2, 1, go. Or you just walk up, let your body do the movement, and then something will naturally unfold. So like if there's someone that you want to go talk to, you're like, I have no clue what I'm going to say. Okay, I'll just go talk to them, see if I can experience an interesting connection, have fun in a conversation, and then I just walk up to them. Simple as that. A lot of times, like I said, people are wanting to connect. They might start the conversation for you. So allow your body to just make the movement. I can't tell you how many times that I just let my body do the movement, just backseat driving here, literally in my own body. And it just, the connections happen, the things are met, it doesn't even matter. So I'll go back to that hotel story. So this was a day in my life where I was having a lot of things come up. It was a lot of things to process, and I had questions, burning questions that I wanted answered from the universe. And I was so upset. And what I always do, if I have questions from the universe, I believe that everything is knowable, that you can have your questions answered. So I was writing questions to the universe, and I don't know, one of the things that I wanted to go do was follow my highest excitement. So I went out, and the answer was to go to this hotel. It's a nicer hotel that I have in my city. Again, like I said, I hadn't really been there. I hadn't really sat around in the lobby. I wasn't staying there, this, that, and the third. Kind of weird. Okay, whatever. So I go, and I'm not feeling at home there. I'm not feeling at home. But I literally walk around the hotel. I go upstairs. I try to find somewhere to sit there. It doesn't feel right. I sit down. I'm like, something's not right. I go downstairs. I go sit somewhere else. I'm like, this doesn't feel right either. I walk around some more. I sit somewhere else. I'm like, this doesn't feel right. Another couch opens up, and I go over there, and I sit, and I'm like, this is my spot. This feels right. This is good. And so I'm there. I'm literally in my journal asking questions to God. And then older gentleman walks by. He smiles at me. I always smile at people because smiling attracts blessings. Another pro tip, like, it's so easy to connect with people if you just smile, whether that be a man or a woman. Like, it literally creates blessings smiling at somebody. Side note. Anyways, a few minutes passed, and then that same gentleman comes up to talk to me. And it was one of the oddest interactions that I've ever had in my life. We would have to have a private conversation to get into how interesting and odd and esoteric this conversation got. But a few sentences that he said answered the questions that I was writing in my journal. And it was like direct communication from source, answering my questions, and in such a beautiful way, and in a way that comforted all of the stress that I was feeling in my life. And if I hadn't shown up, walked around, and sat on that couch and smiled, it wouldn't have happened. So the point here being, you don't really have to necessarily be doing all these crazy things, following your excitement, jumping out of planes, to just go to where you need to go, sit and smile. You get what I'm saying? And by following your highest excitement and doing what feels good, this goes back to that conversation about the success is in the seed. When you are coming from, in your actions, every single action, you're coming from excitement, feeling good, feeling thrilled, feeling pleasure. It cannot help but attract that back. Imagine the opposite, just doing things that you think you should do out of frustration, feeling like a sense of obligation and just dragging your feet along. What do you think that that's really going to attract back to you? So it doesn't really matter what you're doing, as long as it puts you in that frequency of feeling good. Like yesterday, I was following this. One of the things that my friend said on the phone that really made me laugh, he said that when he was a kid, he would play a game called Follow the Symbols. And so I thought to myself, okay, I'll play this game. It's like a mini game within Following Your Highest Excitement. And so the road signs were pointing me in this direction, and whatever reason that caught my eye, I'm like, okay, I'll turn this way. And then another arrow caught my eye, and I was like, okay, I'll turn this way. So essentially, I went home a different way. It got me the same result of going home, but I had so much fun doing it. I was laughing in my car. I was feeling thrilled. I was like on cloud nine doing this exercise. And just that in itself, okay, I got home. I was driving home. It did the same exact thing that if I were to just go the normal route. But the difference was the frequency that I was in. I was in such a happy, fun, loving mood. And when you look at things from a multi-dimensional perspective and an energy perspective, that puts me in a different frequency, that puts me in a different attractor field, and it changes the results that I get in my life just because of who I'm being, how I'm being. Does that make sense? So the more that you're following your excitement, just feeling good, the more likely it will be that things work out, not because you're following the flow of life, but just because you're feeling good. When really, even though I said those things separately, it's one and the same. Feeling good is following the flow of life. And if you're not feeling good, long term, because it's not the same as feeling temporarily discomfort. If you're not feeling that spark, that life force energy, because that's what it is. It's energy. It's life force energy. It's prana, whatever you want to call it. You're not following your flow of life. So please, I'm begging you, actually, don't just listen to this audio and go on with your life. Okay, that sounded cool. Implement it. Do not take my word for it. Do it yourself. I'll leave you with another story. I did this game with my friend, and we ended up, I made her aware of the game. I was like, okay, we're going to play the Follow Your Highest Excitement game. And what we're going to do is wherever we end up, we're just going to feel what's most exciting and just go do it. And so the first thing that we did was go talk to this couple, and they weren't really feeling it. Like, I think that whenever you just approach someone, people aren't used to that. So sometimes it does throw people off, and that's okay. Like, you can sense that and you can give them their space if they want it, or if they're not into it, they will exit the conversation. But we ended up having a quick conversation. It was pleasant, and we ended up going our way. Then we found the next thing, talking to somebody else. And then our highest excitement was, what is that house over there? And we were in this like arts gallery district, and we couldn't tell if it was a house or if it was an art gallery. And I was like, you know what? It's really exciting. Let's just go. And so we walk up to this house, and we're on the steps, and there's 4 people out in the patio with drinks. And we're like, hey, is this an art gallery or is this a house? And they're like, this is our house. We're like, oh, sorry. Like, we didn't know. And we kind of lingered around, and the owner of the house is like, yeah, do you want to come inside, get a house tour, have some wine? I'm like, what? And the owner of the house's partner is like, what? And so that was a little bit much for me. And anyways, my friend, that was her highest excitement. She goes, yeah, I want to go. And so anyways, we end up going into this random person's house, beautiful home, by the way, and making a connection. And the point of that was, sometimes strange things will come from it too. Exciting, strange things. Because for me, I was like, this is a bit much, going into a stranger's house. I mean, I can read energy, the discernment, right? And I can see that they're not harmful, but at the same time, this, that, and the third, I don't want to be imposing. And one of the things that Fred says is, like, getting on energy that's so much, it can feel like jumping on a train that's going too fast. And so sometimes you'll end up in amazing, crazy situations that are like, whoa, is this really happening? I could give you many more stories about following the highest excitement that is like that. But my point here is, make this game a game for you. Do it with your friends. See where you end up. Go out for a day and try this. Do it at home. The worst thing that could happen is that you feel fun, and maybe you're like, whoa, what's happening? And you stop doing it, right? So it gives you amazing stories, because I could give you stories when doing this while traveling. I could give you stories doing this alone, with friends. Like, just commit to trying it at least once. And especially if you invested all this time listening, try it out for yourself. And when you do try it, DM me, tell me about how it went and the amazing result that it got for you. And I appreciate you. I love you. If you are ready to align and thrive as your highest self, living from your highest self, tuning into your soul's wisdom every single day, go to the link in my bio and you can reach out to me for a one-on-one discovery call. And I guarantee you, from that call, you'll at least have so much more clarity, and maybe there will be more steps that you can take. So I appreciate you. All of my socials are at Civ of Soul. It would mean the world to me if you like this video, share it to someone who you feel could get benefit from it, and whatever's in your capacity to do, following, subscribing, you know the deal, girl. So I appreciate you so much, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.